to the splint shell. So as long as it's touching the teeth. Whereas right now I don't have much depth on the upper, I'm actually going to go ahead and drag these points towards the palate a little bit so that my wax rim is taller and has plenty of room to get all of my occlusal surface later on. Because remember, this is just laying the block foundation for our wax rim. It's not going to be where the final wax is. So I'll go ahead and calculate my rim, and I like to increase the opacity. So now I can look around, and one of the big differences on how you design your lower appliances is going to be whether or not you prefer a thinner wax rim, or some people prefer to get both cusps to prevent any pinching. So I'm gonna actually expand this one right here, as I'd hate for them to bite their cheek. Just give it a little bit more wax there. As you can see, when I recalculate the rim, it automatically changes. Wasn't quite far enough. Let's see, and the one next to it maybe a little bit. So neither is technically incorrect. I've seen preferences for both. And I think I'm going to keep my wax rim as is. So once you're done, and you can hide show shell right here just to check where it's going to fall on the appliance. As you can see, it juts out pretty far. I like to make sure on my anterior upper that I have just enough wax for that MIP. So it looks like I may want to add just a little bit more depth to make sure I get this corner here on the front tooth. But it's all captured there, and I don't want it to go far out front. If for any reason your rim was farther up, like you'd clicked further out on the tooth, that just means that you're going to probably end up scraping it off in the sculpting stage later. So now I'll go ahead and click commit and fuse rim to shell. So you see I have dual bite on this side, and then I don't quite have those outer cusps over here. So you'll be able to see what both look like at the end of the workflow. Now I'm going to block out large concavities. And we can begin marking our posterior contacts. Now, one thing to keep in mind on this lower is that my active cusps are the lingual ones now, so I'm going to want to make sure I have more contact area on those than the outer. And I'm still keeping with pretty light contact. Again, you can adjust these points to have as much or as little contact as you desire. All right, I'm going to click next. Now, the other big important difference is for my ramp, it is now going to be behind the anterior teeth. So I'm going to need to paint out and delete the area behind the front 6 instead of in front like we would do for a lower. And now I will delete painted and hit commit. Subtract our posterior plane. So if I hide the upper jaw, you can see here's my wax. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is that we only have as high as the wax goes for our surface, for our ramp. So that already does not look high enough. So that's something you'd fix at the wax room stage. Now I'm going to go ahead and generate functional surface so I can show you if yours comes out with only a little bit of ramp, and then we'll go back and go over how to fix it.